Hello again. This time I want to talk about wood. Yeah, just wood. That might be a boring topic to some of you. To me it's actually quite interesting. So if you're someone that likes wood and you like trees, well, you might like this. And I assume the fact that you're watching this video, you like knives. There's a good chance if you're watching this video, you probably like knives. Well, as it turns out, I actually quite like wood on my knives. I mean, I'm a huge fan of knives with wooden handles, and that's usually, I think I'll just have a seat, that's usually more traditional style knives. As you can see, some of these are more traditional knives. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love modern knives with certain modern materials. I like G10, I like FRN, but to me the natural materials, it's not just wood, but that's what this video is specifically about, is wood. I mean, I like modern knives like this, I really do, and of course I do really enjoy other handle materials. In fact, I'm really into bone at the moment. This is a new one to the collection, a gift from my girlfriend, sort of a limited edition, if you like, one of Case's Vault series, the Pocket Hunter, and amber jigged bone. What a gorgeous little pocket knife, really well made. But we're looking at wood today. As I've said to you previously here on the channel, I really enjoy woodworking. I've always loved woodworking. You know, just the material, to me wood is a lovely material just to look at, to work with. I don't know, but I just put it this way. Look at this. Isn't that just lovely? Curly birch. Or this. What a lovely little piece of walnut. Of course you get more boring materials, if you like. I still really enjoy them, such as, I think these opinels are made of birch. Now to me that looks a lot like beech just going by. I need a pointer. Because if you're not really familiar with different wood species, you might not know what I'm talking about. To me, those little dashes, they're little dot things, to me that kind of suggests that it might be beech, but according to opinel they're actually made of birch, so I'm not really too sure. But yeah, wood is a material that I really do enjoy, and to be honest, I wish more things were made out of wood. I enjoy woodworking. I did several woodworking courses at college. I've done a forestry course where I learned to, you know, properly use a chainsaw. I'm actually trying to save up for a chainsaw just now, so I can use it in the back garden. Not that I've got any trees, but it's just to cut logs when I do acquire them, so hopefully I'll be able to make my own timber out of that. I don't exactly have a big garden. In fact, my garden's actually pretty tiny. I stay in a 4-block flat, so when I do get a chainsaw, I won't be getting used often because they make one hell of a racket. But I just wanted to show you some of the options, and this is by no means comprehensive. By the way, I should have said this is going to be quite a long rambly video. I'm just going to be going off topic a lot. That's not intentional, it's just the nature of the video. I mean, when it comes to knives and trees, it's going to sound ridiculous to some of you, but that's just a topic I really enjoy. In fact, here's just a little random thing for you. I did say it's going to be random. This is actually probably my #1 favourite Zippo. Another thing that I enjoy, Zippos, as a lot of you. My girlfriend seems to think that's funny, she's laughing in the background. Another thing that I quite enjoy is lighters, especially Zippos. This is my favourite one. This was a gift from her. The Tree of Life. Now, when you say the Tree of Life, I actually think of a yew tree. That historically is the Tree of Life. See what I mean? Rambly. I just really like trees. In fact, speaking of trees, I actually just planted 3 trees today. 3 hazelnuts, 3 hazel trees. Bought them from the Woodland Trust. I planted 2 in my front garden and 1 in my parents' back garden. Tiny little trees, barely the size of that hatchet there. And it'll be about 4 years before we get any fruit off of them. Fruit, I mean nuts, the fruit of the tree. Yeah, shut up Scotsman, no one cares. Yeah, I know. My girlfriend keeps laughing in the background. It's making it hard to concentrate. But yeah, here's just some really nice, like, what I consider to be really nice, can't speak, nice knives with wooden handles. So I've got a variety of different species. In fact, there's a thought, two things. Number one, I'm going to use this video to encourage you to plant a tree. We've got this whole nonsense going on with climate change. I'm sceptical of that. I'm not flat out denying it, so don't point the finger at me. Maybe people are contributing to climate change. I don't know. I'm just going to say this. I'm feeling no guilt while I'm revving up my motorbike. That said, I do think we could take reasonable steps to take care of the planet. Planting trees, definitely one of them. I'm just going to flat out say it. I'm a bit of a tree enthusiast. Whenever I'm out walking, I'm like, that's what this species of trees is. That's what that species of tree is, and it drives my girlfriend crazy. Does her head in. In fact, on that note, I think one of my favourite species of trees is probably oak, although I do quite like yew. I've actually got quite a lot of yew in the shed. Trying to wait for it to dry. Anyway, shut up. Knives. Right, so I'm just going to show you what the knives are and what the species of wood is, if possible, but I'm not sure of, you know, all of them. So I already had that in my hand. This is the bore from the bushcraft store. That's the only place you could buy this knife, is the bushcraft store. You've got a few different options. I really like the look of that curly, is it curly birch? Yeah, so that curly birch to me is just gorgeous. I think it's finished with what kind of oil is it finished with, actually? It's some sort of oil anyway. Olive oil, mineral oil, I'm not sure. Has a nice smell to it too. Some people might want to call this a traditional knife. I think this is actually quite a modern knife because it's quite a modern shape. I mean, it's got the steel liners. And of course we've got Allen key, Allen screws there. See if I can get this to focus. Nope, because Muggins here chose the wrong setting on his phone to record. Leather's another thing I'm quite a fan of. But isn't that just a lovely piece of curly birch? And what a good little knife, little UK legal carry knife to take out to the woods with you. You know, you might be a bit too nervous to carry something like this because it locks. I'm definitely going to get into that knife in a minute. This is legal almost everywhere, with a cutting edge of less than 2 inches, being non-locking, and probably one of the better knives you could take with you into the sticks, being Scandinavian ground, and it's just the right thing to do, in my opinion, to have a wooden handle knife out in the woods. Now, if you prefer a modern material, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to judge you. I mean, just the other day, actually, I went out and I took a Mora 511 out and did some whittling by the river, which is quite nice. Let's see, speaking of curly birch, this is probably one of the first knives I ever bought. Not the first knife, but I bought this at the same time as I bought the Spyderco UKPK in Drop Point. I have to say I'm not really a fan of that knife. That's quite nice as well. You can see it's finished a bit differently, but that is such a gorgeous piece of wood, and it's so flat and smooth. It just feels really nice, really well made knife. This is the Enzo PK70, I believe it's called. Another UK legal non-lock-in, less than 3 inches. CPM S30V. That other one there, what is it, sorry, that one there, N695. Did I say that right? I hope so. Both Scandinavian ground. Now, unfortunately, if you want a Scandi ground UK legal, this really is your only option at the moment. Which I forgot to say, you can also get it in Turkish walnut or stag. I think they were going to release it in orange G10. That seems to have disappeared. So I'm sorry to say that this isn't really available now, and I think they're a bit expensive, to be honest. What else do we have here? I already mentioned that this in birch, beech. I'm puzzled because to me, like I said, it looks like beech, but they call it birch. I would think the manufacturer would know, hopefully. Oak is another one of my favourites. I quite like finding oak trees when I'm out and about. I really wish there was more of them. Do you ever notice when you're out walking in the woods, at least here in Britain, certainly I've noticed as most forests is actually man-made. It's usually Norway spruce or Sitka spruce, which, to be honest, I find a little bit depressing. Now, it smells really nice in the woodland and all the rest, and it is nice to walk in those woods. I find it a bit depressing though, because there's nothing growing on the ground. It's just dead pine needles and the odd pine cone. So I prefer hardwoods. The hazel, I said I planted a couple of hazels. They're actually native to Britain, and I chose hazel for that reason. It's a hardwood and I want something useful. Hazel's good for coppicing as well. So you never know, maybe I'll get into some sort of craft doing that. Oak. So this is an Opinel number 6 in oak, which I quite like. In my opinion, your furniture should be made of oak. That's not me dictating to you what your furniture should be made of, that's just my own opinion. Either oak or something like that. Use quite a nice wood. In fact, yew is probably one of the only softwood trees that I actually like. You don't really see many yew trees around now, do you? It's not very often, and usually when you do, they're in big estates or they're in churchyards. This, for what it's worth, is practically the exact same knife, but in walnut. Both number 6, both of these could be had for about £15 each. So if you're someone that likes knives, but you also want to collect a variety of different species of wood, these little Opinels is a good option. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they do the number 6s and the number 8s in a variety of species of wood, as well as buffalo horn. I don't think they do that with the number 7s or any of the other models. I've also seen olive and a couple of other species of wood. Can't quite remember what though, and obviously they're standard birch. Something a bit more exotic, if you like. The Arthur Wright's, this is actually one of my latest acquisitions, the Arthur Wright pruning knife. What a fantastic little UK made, UK legal carry pocket knife. That's right, this thing is made in the UK in Sheffield. I would like to see more of that, and I'm going to make a bit more of an effort to buy British made knives. In fact, British made everything. With this whole current plague we're facing, I think this just goes to show why we should be buying locally. And well, I just feel like you should support local workers, honestly. Just buy locally. Now, I see nothing wrong with buying from other countries. I have no intention of stopping buying knives from America or stopping buying German knives. I mean, you know how much I love my buck knife, and I've got some German knives that I absolutely love. But to me, it's important to buy locally if possible. And I recently found a Scottish knife maker who has made some bushcraft knives that have taken my interest, and they're reasonably affordable as well. So hopefully in the future I'll be acquiring one of those. This is a lovely little pruning knife though, for not a lot of money. Now, the quality isn't quite there. I mean, it's obviously not as nice as a case, but that is a beautifully put together knife, would you not agree? Now, this species of wood, now I'm feeling dodgy on this kind of wood. This is rosewood. This, from what I've gathered, is from India. And I'm a bit sad to say, and I genuinely am sad about this, and I only read this after I bought the knife, because I actually thought this wood was grown in Europe. Apparently rosewood is one of the most trafficked species of wood in the world, as in, sold illegally, which leads to illegal deforestation being, well, bad for the environment. I mean, they're cutting down trees that are hundreds of years old that should be, which I find terrible. I truly believe that forestry should be done responsibly and in such a way that is sustainable, so that the trees are going to be there for future generations. I mean, I hope you could tell that I genuinely do care about the forests. And some people might say, hold on, you've done a chainsaw course, you're learning how to cut down trees with a chainsaw, aren't you contributing to deforestation? No, not really, because in the UK it's actually done fairly responsibly. You plant some, you cut some. It's been done that way for quite a while. Now, if it's just a case of you cut down the trees and then you don't plant them, I'm going to take big issue with that. Just give you another little run around the wood, run around the knife, sorry. They've got the really nice nickel silver bolsters with a pinch here. Slip joint, as I said. Fit and finish isn't the greatest, but it's pretty good in comparison to other knives I've got. Look at that bolster right there, that end cap even. Centering is not bad. £25 of Heine Haynes for this lovely little UK made knife with a really nice exotic wood. Now, I really do hope that the Arthur Wright & Sons, the company that made this knife, have sourced this wood responsibly. I trust that they have, but whenever I see certain exotic woods, ebony being another one, I'm feeling, I don't know if I want to buy that, because they are endangered, and the last thing I want to see is species of trees going extinct because of irresponsible individuals and deforestation and trafficking and all the rest. I truly believe it's terrible. Anyway, this is another little Swiss Army style penknife, if you want to call it that. This is by an Italian company called Mercury. Now, this has also got a nice wooden handle. Now, with these knives from Mercury, on Heine Haynes at least, you've got two options. You've got this, which is olive wood, which I believe, well, it grows in the Mediterranean, so Italy and as far as Greece and maybe even Turkey. I'm not so, I could be wrong. I have done a little bit of research here and there because, like I said, I do generally care about the timber and all the rest. But you've got this, which this specific flavour of knife, the Mercury number 8, cost £30 of Heine Haynes, which I find to be quite reasonable. Or if you want to double your money, you can get it in stag. Funny enough, I've heard some people call it stag bone. It's not a bone, it's an antler as far as I'm aware. Double your money, 60 quid, get it in stag. Not the greatest quality of knife. I mean, you can see some gaps between the liner and the wood. But if you don't want a Swiss Army knife because they are so common, you want something a bit different, or maybe you've had a Swiss Army knife for years, well, there you go, there's an option. Speaking of Swiss Army knives, the Victorinox Evolution, I want to say 18. Basically a copy of a Wenger design. As you'll know, Victorinox acquired Wenger. This is the Evolution scales with the Wenger blade. And no secondary blade, we've just got a nail file. And of course you've got the whole tool set, which we don't need to go over right now. Like I said, walnut. What a lovely little piece of walnut. This walnut here is far nicer than that, but that's not to say this isn't nice. I actually meant to bring a few other items to go along with this video. I had a really nice gents soft for cutting dovetails. It's got a walnut handle, also made in the UK. Maybe I'll do something we'll do something like that in a future video, just show you things made in the UK, because that's another thing that I find quite important. Not just UK knives, just anything made in Britain. I'll hate to have a look and see what I've got that's British made. Anyway, moving on. I already showed this. Now, this is kind of cheating. I mean, it is, but it isn't. This is a Victorinox Recruit. It did have the plastic Celador scales, but I thought, well, this is a fairly inexpensive Swiss Army knife, and I kind of wanted to make my own scales for it, so I made it out of oak. I know it's not the prettiest of things. It's my first time trying, and I literally made this here on my kitchen counter. Now that I've got my workshop in the back garden, maybe I'll try again. I did try to, you know, put holes in this thing and use the rivets to keep it pressed on, but I kind of cheated a little bit. I used blue tack just to make sure it would stay on. Not a clever thing to do, I know, but I mean, it's holding so far, and of course we've got leather lanyard on it. Another British made pocket knife from Sheffield, the Arthur Wright Spear Point. Another gorgeous little knife. Now, my only gripe with these really is the steel is awful. I know I've said before that I'm not really too fussed about the steel, but keeping an edge on these is a pain in the ass. can never seem to get them sharp, and they certainly don't come sharp from the factory. But that's quite a nice little spear point there, very similar to a Victorinox Swiss Army knife. But of course it's not, it's a Sheffield made knife. I love the bolsters on this as well as the rivets, and the guy that fitted these scales I think did a really good job. Now the only see, I wish I filmed in the other mode because I could zoom in. I can't zoom in on this mode. Nope. The only thing is I'm not entirely sure what kind of wood this is, and I'm sure on Heine it just says wood, which really isn't helpful. I'm guessing with this being rosewood, this being the same company, and they do look quite similar, I would like to say rosewood, although originally I guess walnut. That said, if I didn't know what rosewood looked like and you handed me this and said guess what species of wood that is, I'd probably say walnut. I'm not as well versed in identifying timber and wood as I would like to be. This thing. This is pretty much the exact same material as most other Opinels. It's birch, just like the rest, it's just painted. Why did I bring this on? Well, it's still wood, and I feel funny about this. You see, I'm one of those people that actually don't like painting wood. Now this I'm okay with because it was only 15, 12 quid even, and this is actually useful. This bright orange, you lose it in the woods, in the grass, in the trees, whatever. Not that you're going to be up a tree with it, but if you do lose it outside, hey, look at me, I'm bright orange, come find me. So that's kind of good, especially if you're doing something like forestry, or you're out camping. It's easier to see. Generally speaking, I don't like painting wood. I find it quite annoying. Kind of like when people will spend so much money getting solid oak skirting or solid oak doors in their house and they'll paint it white. I don't understand that. To me, oak wood is nice enough as it is. What you painting it for? If you want to do that, or you have done that, that's fine. I'm not going to criticise you. That's just my opinion. I don't like painting wood. But they do these in several different colours. Orange is one of my favourite. The apple green looks quite nice, and so does the purple. Both of them look quite attractive. This thing has me a little bit confused. Now, you'll know already, this is one of my favourite knives in the collection, the Buck 112 Folding Hunter. For a million different reasons, this is a favourite of mine. Now, for a long time, I actually thought that was also walnut. I don't remember why I thought that, but I think I heard recently that it's actually not walnut. I think it was Buck's own website. It might just be that the handle material is different. This actually may be ebony, which I'm funny about that because, as I said earlier, ebony is also endangered. Ebony being a wood from Africa, and I believe it's another heavily trafficked wood. I've actually got a woodworking manual on the shelf which actually tells you a number of species of trees. It's not all of them, but it's some of the more common ones. Ebony and rosewood are both endangered, as well as African blackwood, which is used to make the bagpipes. Used to make bagpipes. That I find kind of upsetting too. I mean, I'd rather they didn't cut down the trees to use them to make instruments. It's not just bagpipes, it's just wind instruments in general, I believe. Could be wrong. Just going by things I've read previously, so don't take all this as fact. Like I said, this is just me enjoying knives and being a bit whiny about deforestation. Another recent acquisition. This is definitely a knife worth paying for. This is on Ontario, which is a nice USA made knife. I love that leather sheath. Some people might think it's crap quality. I really like it. I think it's well made. It seems like high enough quality leather. The colour on it is quite nice, and of course the star of the show, the knife itself. You can see they aren't made in the USA. What a lovely little hunting butcher knife, bushcraft knife, whatever you want to use that for. Old hickory. Now, I'm not convinced that is actually hickory. I might be wrong. That there's hickory though, Gransfors Brooks. Been using that in the shed about a month ago. What a lovely little axe, little hatchet. Get to that shortly. Like I said, rambly. Can't focus on the topic. I don't know if that actually is hickory. Maybe it's just because it's, you know, got that dye on it that might be confusing me a little bit. This is one of those species of woods that I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's hickory, maybe it's something else. I like to think it's hickory. Now then, axes. It's not a knife, I know, but the chances are if you like knives, you probably like axes, and I'm willing to bet a majority of you use axes. I sometimes use an axe. And I'm trying to improve my axemanship, if you want to call it that. Sometimes referring to the little free booklet that Gransfors Brooks gives you with both of the axes. I currently have two by Gransfors Brooks, and I've got another axe from Haltefors, which is probably the main axe. That's hanging up in the shed. This thing stays in the house because of the price of the damn thing. I'm not paying £100 for an axe and leaving it in the shed. That's just asking for trouble, especially with two of them. You know, to me, a pocket knife, especially one that lasts a long time, to me that's a special thing. And the thought of handing it down to someone, a younger generation, to me that's an important thing and a special thing. Not something that's going to happen anytime soon, of course. I mean, I'm not that old myself, I'm only in my 20s. You know, it's kind of funny. I get a feeling that the majority of my audience is actually significantly older than me. I'm just going to take a wild guess and say that most of my audience is probably between the ages of 30 and 50. Whereas I, myself, I'm under 25. I'd like to try and keep those sort of details quiet on the channel, but there you go. But to me, something like this is quite special. Now, you might say, 100 quid for a little hatchet like that, what a rip-off. Well, yeah, to you, it depends what you're doing with it. To me, something like that, I mean, it really is proportional to what you're doing, right? If you're doing woodworking, or you're using this for very long periods of time, if you're in the forestry business or something like that, or you like collecting them, this is for you. A lot of people will just go to B&Q and buy the cheapest hatchet they could find for 15 quid with a really poor steel. The steel shaft with a rubber moulded handle. I have some of them, they've got their place, but for me, this is a tool for the job. I mean, you've got a piece of really nice forged Swedish steel. You've got a beautifully made, some people don't like these, but I really do, beautifully made leather mask on the axe, on the hatchet. And you've got the correct species of wood. Now, to the best of my knowledge anyway, two of the best species of wood for axes or tools in general, actually, hammers, chisels, whatever, is either ash or hickory. This is American hickory. I mean, it might not look too nice. Oh dear, I ran out of memory. I'll try and just edit these two together if I can. If not, none of them are going up. I won't be too much longer, however. I was saying that this to me is something that's important, just having really well made tools. Ash or hickory is typically the right sort of species of wood to use for tool handles, tool shafts. It looks a bit rough, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. This is a perfectly usable tool that will last. And even if it doesn't, I mean, you're meant to replace the handles anyway. Look at that. Is that not just a gorgeous traditional tool? Look at how well made that is, how well seated that shaft is in the eye. Really nice forged bit of steel. I think I do have a couple of others. Now, this isn't all of my knives with wooden handles. I do have a few more, got a few machetes that I'm not showing. I think this will be the last one that I'm showing. This is the MOD knife, the British Army Jungle Survival Knife, whatever you want to call it. I'm not entirely sure if this is a genuine one. It's a newly made one, as in it's not issued, but I think they did actually issue something like this. Out of all my knives, out of all the things that I own with wood, this one's got me the most puzzled. I do not have a clue what this is. It definitely feels like, it's not the greatest to call the greatest of the greatest. What kind of word am I looking for here? It's not the highest quality wood anyway. Anyway, I don't think I've really got much more to say, honestly. Final words, like I said, planted some trees today. Something I've wanted to do for a while. If it's something that you're thinking about doing, I'm just going to flat out say I highly encourage you to, you know, go out and plant some trees. That's just my own opinion, because it is something that I do genuinely care about. In fact, you know what? Here's what I'll do. If you follow the group, Scotsman762 on Facebook, and you have recently planted a tree, or you're going to plant a tree, why not let me know? Show me one of your favourite knives and the tree you planted. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe not, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just speaking without thinking. I'm just quite excited talking about knives and, well, wood. Might sound silly, I know, that's fine. Anyway, I'm sorry that was so long and rambly, but you were warned. I'm absolutely amazed if you tolerated my crap for, like, how long's it been? Well, I can't tell you because the video's cut in half, so this has been at least 25 minutes anyway. I suppose you've not got much better to do anyway, because we're in a lockdown at the moment. Nonetheless, thanks for watching, I'll see you later.